The World Cup pots, man. The World Cup pots have been released. Who's in pot one, pot two, pot three? Now I am hoping that we can the Super Eagles can squeeze a little pots three or maybe cheeky pots, a little cheeky pots. As I said, and I'll continue to say that December 5th is when it's really going to dawn. That is when the reality is really going to dawn as to um, where we are with regards to um, this whole World Cup fiasco, bro. So here's the dealio. Here's the dealio, bro. The reports have been released, and no, Nigeria are not in pot one. We're not in pot two. We're not in pot three. We're not in pot four. We're in pot. Stay your failure stinking ass at home and think about yourself as a human being. That's the pot that we're in. That's the pot that we're in. So we're gonna look at all these pots. But remember, guys, on right here on this channel, obviously, I don't know. By the time this goes out, I may have done it. If not, next Thursday we'll have a hangout previewing the World Cup draw. On Friday, live reaction to the World Cup draw. I've done it. I think I've done it. Actually, well, no. I think I have done it since 2014. So I didn't do it in 2010. That's when this channel started. But I think since 2014, I believe I've done like a World Cup draw, either live reaction or live hanker since 2014. So again, with tradition, so I did it in 2014, just in 2018, did it in 2022, and I'm doing it again for 2026. So remember, the World Cup preview will be next Thursday. The World Cup live draw reaction will be on Friday. And on that evening, because it may be a bit too early for some people, for my American friends. So for my American friends, who I think that's going to be like 12, 1 p.m. if you're on the East Coast, and like what's 10 a.m., 9, 10 a.m. if you're on the West Coast. So we'll do another hangout Friday evening, so we can do like a full reaction to take into account my UK peeps and my American peeps, Caribbean peeps, and other peeps all around the world. Because we are global here. We're global here on the Football Hangouts, and it is the World Cup, so we have to take into account the whole world. So there'll be like two shows on the Friday: the live reaction show for who is awake, obviously for the main UK peeps, and of course for the evening show for the other guys. That's all well gonna. So let's look right here at what these pots look like. So let's look at pot numero uno. So this is pot numero uno. So right off the bat, we have our Trump friends USA. So America, obviously. So America, Mexico, Canada. Boom. Standard. Those guys are in because obviously they are the guys who are the host. Those guys are hosting. So I think if you're them, you're happy. So if you're a host, now this is not a full conclusion. Because remember, in 2010, South Africa didn't make it through the groups. So this is just a full-on conclusion. But if you think about 48 teams, best third place loser, you now being in pot one, meaning you're going to get a pot four, pot three team, you should feel confident of your chances. However, bro, we'll get to pot four. There could be some very tricky teams in pot four, and I'm going to talk about some of the teams that these lesser pot one teams, namely an America, Mexico, and Canada, will want to avoid if they meet them in pot four, or even like a Belgium, who don't really rate. Spain, standard, one of the strongest teams out there. Argentina, one of the strongest teams. France, one of the strongest teams. England, again, one of the favorites. Out of respect, pot one. But just out of anger with just how much Brazil have just stained the jerseys, 7-1 tax. I'd actually wanted to be in pot two, but out of respect, it's still one of the strongest teams of South America. It's still 5-10 World Cup winners. Out of respect, you have to put them in pot one. Portugal, one of the strongest guys out there. And I don't care what anyone says, Portugal are very capable of saying what's up. Portugal are very capable of winning of winning the World Cup. Like, they're not the strongest team, but by no means are they the weakest team. Not the strongest team, but by no means are they the weakest team. So Netherlands, again, not as strong as before. They have the Netherlands with that twerking verge. Belgium, again, no Zad, no party. No Zad, no party. And, of course, Germany. Germany have not been as strong, but I always say to guys that Germany are the best performing team at World Cup just based on their consistency of performance over several World Cups. So shout out to the German peeps out there. So look, I think the weakest team in pot one, for me, the weakest team in pot one, I would argue is between Belgium, Mexico, and America. Okay, weakest team. It might be between Belgium and Mexico. I cannot rate Belgium, bro. I don't rate Belgium, man. It might be between Belgium and Mexico. And America are not strong, bro. But I think America, think for see, it's tricky. Remember, guys, the group stage games are where you have Mexico and Canada. All the knockout stage games are in America. So really, America are really the de facto host of this tournament. So it's just like, oh, a glorified three-way. It's really America. Um, so as weak as America are, because of home tax, that's going to give them an extra impetus. So I'm looking at Mexico and Belgium as the weakest. Strongest, oh, it's definitely the three-headed horse of Argentina, Spain, France. I think those are the three strongest teams. And then below that, you have. So basically, I think your tier one of pot one, I would say, is France, Argentina, Spain. Then your tier two is England, Brazil, Portugal. Then I would then have the so no no so no so tier two is Germany, Brazil, Portugal, England. That's your tier two. Then your tier three is where you have like your Netherlands, Canada, USA home tax, maybe Mexico, and then the weakest is between Belgium and Mexico, I'd say. Again, I told you Belgium, I don't really, I told you no Zad, no party. I don't care who's on that team. No Zad, no party for those guys. But it's gonna be fun, bro. Um, pot two. Pot two. All right, let me just. So we have here Croatia, Morocco, Colombia. No, let me make it bigger. Fuck it. So Croatia, Morocco, Colombia, Uruguay, Switzerland, Japan, Senegal, Iran, South Korea, Ecuador, Austria. Very interesting teams here. Very interesting teams here in pot two. So strongest team. So okay, let's go. So weakest team here in pot two. I'm looking at. Hmm, I'm looking at because Uruguay just got pissed up by US in that friendly. I'm looking at Australia. Although Australia can always give, but again, if I had to pick, I'm looking at probably Australia as the weakest team here. So probably Australia and maybe Uruguay as probably one of the weakest teams here. Strongest teams, so let's say so tier one, strongest team, I would say Ecuador, Morocco, Colombia, Japan. So yeah, so I would say so Morocco, Colombia, Japan, Ecuador, I think are your strongest tier one teams. Then your tier two is where you now bring in Croatia, Austria, Senegal. Now I'm putting Senegal tier two. Just so Senegal are also on the cusp of tier one, but I'm still going to put them tier two. But they're on the cusp of tier one, and the cusp of so Senegal are like at the top end of tier two. You know, alongside with Croatia. You know, well, obviously, so yeah, so them Croatia and those guys there. So those are the who I'll put in there. I mean, Senegal, yeah, I just don't think Senegal. I don't think Senegal are as strong as Morocco, Colombia, Ecuador, and Japan. I don't think so. But they'll give them a game. But I would tip Morocco, Colombia, Japan, and Ecuador to say what's up. Watch out for Colombia and Ecuador, bro. Because remember, this is America. A lot of Colombians in America. Shout out to my sweetheart Francesca Jimenez. Shout out to my sweetheart there, and Esperanza Gomez as well. But Colombia, a lot of so Colombia are gonna have crazy support. They're gonna have crazy support. So wherever Colombia are, Colombians are going to easily travel to wherever they are. So again, it's not that far from Colombia to America, and there are a lot of Colombians in America. Again, those guys. So what's called those ice idiots? Relax, chill. Shout out to my Colombian peeps out there, baby. Again, Francesca MS. So Colombia gonna have crazy support. So Colombia, watch out for Colombia. Watch out for Colombia. They're gonna say what's up. So pot three. So pot three we have Norway, Panama, Egypt, Algeria, Scotland, Paraguay, Tunisia, Ivory Coast, Uzbekistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, South Africa. Um, so weakest team, Uzbekistan. Got to go with Uzbekistan. I think Uzbekistan are the weak. So Uzbekistan, Panama. Those are the weakest teams out there. Tier one, Norway, Ivory Coast. I think those are your tier one teams. Those two, Norway and Ivory Coast. I think those are the clear strongest teams. Then below there, then I would go for a Scotland, Algeria, maybe an Egypt, and then tier three we'll look at South Africa, perhaps Qatar, um, you know, and Qatar, and then obviously below that, that's where you now have a Saudi Arabia, a Tunisia. So what I say? I think no, Scotland I say were tier two. How did I say were tier two? But I think from the strongest for sure. I think I can only pick two tier one teams, which are Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, and Norway. Cote d'Ivoire, Norway, Boy Haaland and things. So if you're a pot one team, you don't want Norway, and you don't want Ivory Coast. You want to avoid those two guys, Ivory Coast and Norway. And fine, last but not least, pot four. So Jordan, Cape Verde, Ghana. Why are Ghana in pot four? I want to know why are our friends, Ghanaian friends, in pot four? Curacao, Haiti, New Zealand, a UEFA team. So, so again, we don't know who those UEFA teams are, but I'm going to give you something. So, and then it's continental teams. So, if DR Congo say what's up, or it could be Jamaica or Bolivia, that's where they will be. If Italy say what's up, Italy end up in a pot four. So Italy could have a situation where they're in a weird context where if they even go through, they may have a tough ass group. So they may have a pot. So Italy could have a group of, let's say, like a Spain. Um, who was pot two? So who was pot two? So Italy could have, like, let's say they could have a Spain. They could have a Spain, Morocco, Norway, or Argentina, Morocco, Norway, them. Crazy. Because I don't know whether there's like a number of European teams, or it's just like no pot one, pot two, pot three, pot four, or like, oh no, there can't be too many European teams, too many South American teams. So I think so it can be a case where you put like three European teams in a group because that's just crazy. So I think they have to now sort of diverge. So I think maybe how they have it divided up is in pots and also in the continents. So you have a blend. So I think ideally what you'd want is in each group, four teams that all are from different confederations. So like you have a North American, African, European, Asian. So you mix it up, or South American, Asian, European, North American. Um, so I think tier one here, I would say Ghana for sure. I would say Ghana. Um, if DR Congo come through, if DR Congo make it through, DR Congo will be a tier one in this team. So I would say if DR Congo, again, it's a massive if, they still have to beat either Bolivia or Jamaica. So if DR Congo come through, I think DR Congo will be a tier one team if they go through. Or it could be a Bolivia or a Jamaica. Ghana for sure. Then I say tier two, I'm gonna go for Cape Verde for tier two. I'll go for Cape Verde for tier two. And I think that maybe tier three is where you're not bringing like a Haiti, a Jordan, a New Zealand. But I think if you're if you're Ghana, it's tough. It's tough because Ghana could get a group of, like, let's say Morocco. So basically, so let's say Ghana could get, if we're going to mix it up, so they could get a group of, let's say, um, Colombia, and um, maybe Norway or maybe Panama. So the create England, Colombia, Panama. So if we're to mix it up, that'll be tough for them. Now, but remember, the best third places, so they also expect to beat Panama. But look, it's all well and exciting. So look, man, yeah, we're not in it. Yeah, no, I know we're not in it. We're not in it. Yeah, it's true. We screw up. It is what it is. Remember, guys, um, your boy, I think I'll put a link in this. Remember, next Friday we'll be here. Next Friday, check the channel. World Cup draw is going to be happening on this channel. World Cup preview hangouts on the Thursday. World Cup live reaction on the Friday, and a hangout for a full deep dive into the World Cup groups. That's my lovely Nigeria, somehow, some way, featuring every single country on the planet, managing not to get through. It is what it is. It is what it is. I shall cry and be depressed in peace. To get that ball right there into the sweet spots, the margin of error is freaking minuscule. But again, guys, we're dealing with the dog. I told you, my goals are different. My goals are different. So
name me three players. Name me three Corinthian players.
20. Okay, so shut up. Silva, Rodriguez, and Santos. What's it called? So 2013 Bayern.
Yes. 2013 Bayern. These guys go too much into the whole league thing. Madrid finished 3 points off Atletico in 2014.
But
so it's
they
not like it was a
No,
big
wait.
war, guys.
Okay. Wait, hold on. On the Twitter, this is perfect. We're actually using your name. The ones we named are undisputed. This one is disputed. Think about becoming a Football Hut member. If you're a desktop merchant, just click on the join button below, over here. Or if you're a mobile phone merchant, just click on the join button below the video over here and join the true elite content crack addicts. Peace.